Guys, today we are doing video and you probably can guess it because the name already showed the Europa with straight line borders. So let's begin it. First, I say that to the if I make a mistake with like Ukraine to uh, Russia finish war and peanuts like that straight lines, it will be end this video. So if you guys really want to see straight line countries on Europa, too much. So here we go. Started with the Ukraine-Russia war. She's so cross borders. And for sure, the Ukraine owns the Crimea. So it be like that. And the straight line thing doesn't count on wars. And I put that the European countries who have the land over the hill except the assistant. I say he's not Europa because he have most land of Russia, not Russia, Asia. Russia that similar thing. He expands and on even some more islands over here and north and that. So let's move on with video. First, supports by every European Union nation and even more, Ukraine got pushes back to further to the cutting Crimea and capturing full Crimea, and Russia sees that a really big issue because they have new front to expand the army in the Russians. So what Ukraine did, managed to push in Russia. And what Ukraine really did with supports, pushing Russia really far to the Ukraine has the most territories back on their lands and now fully back to don't mind that guys. That's issue what probably I can't fix. So it probably needs stay here. So let's continue with the pushes. Ukraine managed to push in Russia, cutting Russia fully. No, planning cut Russia this part off. Now, what next will be? We see Georgia joining war. They had been tired Russia steals lands, so they're making their own push to get those back. And what next will happen? Ukraine planning push to the Moscow. Moscow is here. Let's make Moscow yellow. foreseeable that now what Georgia did managed to connect with the Ukraine army and push with the Ukraine army further. Now cutting Russia off fully to Black Sea. Now Russia have really bad issue with they have no access to Balkans, so no trades with Serbia equals no goods help. Now Ukraine managed to push even further. Now Baltic states they joined the war. They wanted support the Ukraine so much to that they joined the war. So equals push made by the Baltics too. First, fully Kaliningrad is captured, then push in Russia mainlands. Even pushing really far and for supports America just supports those countries who is in war, but they don't join the war because they thinking that's the worst. Because America they really like the straight lines, but if Europa be straight lines, they really think how how it is possible. Europa doesn't like straight lines, but let's continue with war. Ukraine plan to push fully into the Moscow is really good made, but Russia sees that chance to take away the most army of Ukraine, but to them United States support army managed to capture so much of Russians army and pushing even here and getting closer to Moscow. What Estonia did, they pushed to the St. Petersburg, captured it, and making giant push around this lake. Uh, Not lake, probably sea. So here we see giant issue with Russia. They are almost losing capital, and they lose already one biggest city in Russians, and pushing Ukraine managed to push even more army to their Saint Petersburg, but to uh, this support by America, they managed to push inside Petersburg and captured the Saint Petersburg, not Saint Petersburg, the Moscow. Saint Petersburg is already captured. What's going on today to me? Whatever, let's continue. And Georgia has planned to make more pushes to the Russia seat no chance and they quit. And peace, let's see how peace will goes. First, we do with Latvia. You're getting really much new things. Now, Estonia, You do. Even got Saint Petersburg on your name. Now, Ukraine. You're making giant changes. You. This is Ukraine now looking. Let's give them the Ukraine lands because he has so much doing the issue with Russia so long time. And 2014 there was a Ukraine issue too with Russia. So it is now fixed and let's give Georgia borders up too. And Georgia is now this nicely looking country too. They say that, but America doesn't like Georgia about because uh, Georgia is like the state Georgia. They doesn't like they use the name Georgia, but they still support Georgia and Russia. You had issue of Ukraine getting so close to your capital too. Now, even to the Baltic borders, even Finland got lands on there. So let's see what Finland did manage to get, and even Norway got a little bit. Both didn't join, but Estonia was so kind to give them so much lands. Now, what uh, next will happen? Estonia fully grabs he got the lands. Now, Latvia, you no grab at your lands too. Now, Lithuania, you did do that similar thing. You grab it, that, and that's for it you. And Baltics planet united. So here is the United States of Baltic. And Baltics are so happy to be united as one nation. Finland supported that so much too, and Finland thinking to soon join the Baltic Union because that's really nice to be has so big power. Baltic did the land uniting too. So after some decades, we see fully united of them. Now, what next happen? Belarus see the issue going on with the Russia again. Say the Belarus again using me, and now you're doing that. Belarus see really big issue because the capital is here, and they are really making push already in them. Now America comes to help, and Russia see no chance again. Now Russia finally saw the United Nations making their really further doable. And what did change? Some borders again changed that. Now we see the Baltic Union even grab himself some lands, leaving Russia so weak. Even Belarus got land, and Belarus joined immediately the United Nations as America friends. Now we see really big borders of Europa seeable. Now, what Norway did, they planned to sell the northeast part of that the Baltic Union as one stage, and they did that. So Baltic even more expanded themselves. Now Sweden, you planned to unite with that too because they have St. Petersburg now as capital, and they have a really big CPU too. You united with them. Iceland even joined that, and even Norway and Denmark did they plan to do that. Now the Greenland can finally be freed of the Denmarks. Greenland made him choice to join the Americans. America said finally and agreed Greenland as part. But now Baltic named themselves Scandinavian Union because they have fully lands of Scandinavia. Now, what Poland did, they didn't like that the Scandinavia could own the Kaliningrad. So he planned to get that himself, but before that we see Serbia issue with Kosovo. Now immediately Americans got to pushing in Serbia, and Serbia already lost their capital. So let's see how will that change the borders of Serbia. And even more countries. Kosovo will be a similar shape because they really love that shape on their flag. Now, Montenegro even grabbed himself that. Bosnia and Croatia grabbed themselves lands too. Hungary, you got that. Romania, you did plan to get borders of that. Macedonia, you did take a little bit, but you still got land. That's the most nice thing you got. Now, even Bulgaria got lands, and Serbia is this thing. But honestly, collapsed because they are really weak. Now we see really big shrinks of the borders. Serbia doesn't now exist, this region. And let's get to a little bit Serbia here. Let's try repaint Serbia as a giant black thingy. That's probably a similar shape of Serbia. Now, what Moldova did, they finally got the part of European Union, and with Ukraine too, and Belarus joined that too. Scandinavia is there, and what Morocco did, they planned to join the European too, but the European said you don't have any European land, so you can't join. So what he did, he parsed little bit land off here to join the European Union. So he managed to get in Europa. Now Malta, little island here, decide enough. I need lands and parts little bit leg of Italy. Now he said even that to the British that he's never gonna be a British again and be that. Now Vatican and San Marino and Italy managed to make choice to unite. Now Italy you united with them, but you had issue with this thing. Yep, that's new nation. This nation really hates you because the government is really bad for them. Now, what next will happen? We see Croatia united with Slovenia and Bosnia, and even Montenegro to make the newest Yugoslavia, but not similar like a real Yugoslavia, as they are making that the Yugoslavia, the democratic system, and be American ally. So, what the Albanian, North Macedonia, and Kosovo did, they united to warm themselves as one power. And Greece, yeah, absolutely planned to destroy the, the Turkey, but after decades, we managed to even get into war with Turkey, and after some decades, Cyprus is the Greece too. So Greece will be shaped about like like that, another leg. Italy was lake. So now it is not lake. Now let's start with war. Wait, I forgot the European part of the Turkey. Now it's painted in. Now Turkey has maybe in Porsche's landings by it decrease landed even here. Turkey sees how you're making that. Italy, not Italy. Italy is already done. The Greece says it's really simple if you will use your money on your military, and Turkey see no chance because that's too weak to them. So surrender them. Now new borders on Turkey and Greece. Let's see how it will goes. Seems like the Greece have the best time now because they are owning really much now Turkeys. And Greece even said to be the empire, but to be empire they really need to get a little bit bigger. So what they did, they had to unite it with some the Balkans, only a little bit of them. Now Greece finally said his empire, but it didn't still like the South Pole, so he just parched on the some lands of there. Now that's part was really good. Now he finally said his finally be superpower name, but what the Egypt do with the parts? He lost really much of his lands, so he wanted revenge. Egypt, you claimed war, but accidentally made push in here. Now this is not in Greece, so it is just war on liberty. Now you had to do with the liberty. Now what you did, you just nuke at the capital of liberty and some cities of the coast too. Now liberty is lost now. Now let's see what you will do with liberty. And that's not in Europa, so the straight lines doesn't count here. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Let's try fix all that. Seems like Egypt they could have liberty. So Egypt didn't plan anymore to do war of Greece because he got really much of the liberty war already, and he goes really back to. So he didn't do war, but he did something still. He just did similar like Greece did. He bought lands. Now let's give him more lands. He bought really lands. Those lands now be Greece. There's Egypt. Now Egypt bought even more lands. Even a little bit on chat. And but he finally thinked about he thinked to be empire too. So he did that. He made himself as empire. But not just normal straight line empire. He made himself the around looking empire. But democratic empire. This is democratic empire. Now we see a little bit uniting doable too. And the Iran changing the size of Russia to America too. So Iraq has to be do that too because he is probably said Iraq and Iran is similar name of them. So we see some Iraq borders losing too. And good enough for Iran. He managed to get lands of Iraq too. Now we see the Tibet forming himself as a republic, and India now do secures Tibet of the Chinese. Now, what Kazakhstan now do? He said, "That's enough, Russia. I am done with you," and immediately made little bit border change of these two. Now Kazakhstan said that because he want to join now NATO, what made the Russia really confused why if one biggest ally joins NATO and Russia see that as and like other countries he need to take some borders of him so he could be giant but little he know that he takes lands already some Russian allies. Now even got lands of Chinese. That made Russia really confused. How did he do that? and now he is now fully of NATO member. That made NATO really strong too. And for his surprise, Russian it gave so many lands of himself to Kazakhstan. So Kazakhstan expanded further. Kazakhstan really didn't plan to do that, but he is now looking like that. And world map, you can really see Kazakhstan here. Now Russia's is that really big issue. With this thing be read what issue will be on Russia. The issue was Siberia be republic making. That made Russia really lose so many new lands again. So Russia is now fully only north to sea accesses. Now this thing creep up into Russian lands. Now this made Russia really losing most of his things. He knew and that he is losing really much. So he knew that it's over and ended it up here with only that to be joining Europa too. Now Kazakhstan agreed to give him the straightest lines ever he has made. Now Russia seems the European member and the puppet joined the Europa too. Now Siberia is fully scary looking. He managed to get so much Russian nukes. Most of nukes was in Russia, some regions. Let's point them. Now, those heavy Russians nukes marks where Russian nukes lays. And one be here too. And one here. And here. And here. And here. And lastly, here. Those are Russian nukes placements. So, mostly is in Siberia. So Russia really lost him and nukes, but can keep some nukes. What is still issue? If Siberia makes war on Russia, Russia will probably lose and be Siberian. So Siberia could be and the one who could be empire now. Now with Mongolia joining Siberia too. That made Siberia even more powerful because Mongolia have some nukes too over into some regions, and he have more nukes than the Siberia and Russia together. Those are Mongolia's nukes. It is really issue now on Russia. Now the Siberia agreed with China to change borders, and Chinese those borders had nukes too. Now we see Chinese lost some, most of them be their nukes. Now, what happens nextly? Seems like the border conflict has been happened. Russian says that's them. Chinese says no, that's them because they didn't give that away. Now Korea's they united as Korea, American ally Korea's. Now what happened nextly? The Europa sees its chance to be powers. Europa finally agreed to make European Union, but not just normal European Union, the North European Union. And even further, Scotland is in the North European Union. What made Brittany really angry because he owned Scotland. Now he doesn't. And even further, the North European Union is now the biggest European country, owning so many lands. Now, what happened next? Kazakhstan said, could I join the European Union? And Europa said, why not? If you really want to join, you can if you have straight lines. And Kazakhstan started to make himself straight lines. Now Kazakhstan and Siberia agreed to change those borders. and Chinese too ends here. But first, this thing didn't agree because that will make them lose more lands than Kazakhstan, and they owned some Kazakhstan's lands there. Now, finally, they had managed to get agreed that now we can say the Europa have borders with Chinese too. Now let me finish the Kazakhstan's borders. Now Kazakhstan is fully European nation. And firstly, he united with Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Armenia. Interesting uniting. Now, one issue with Greece and Turkey, they had to unite, both be issue with because they was so big enemies. Now, Romania and Moldova united, Yugoslavia united with so many on here. Now, Slovakia, no, Slovenia joined the North European. Now, this uniting questing, Iberian Union is thing, even with the Morocco, but don't really have the straightest lines because that's really suspicious. But Morocco is one of the straightest lines countries ever, so it doesn't really matter. But I still want to do that for sure. Now, Switzerland, you think it about and you planet join France because you're more lands to France than others. Now, Iberian Union and France uniting as one nation. Now, this uniting fasting, even this uniting, even Malta united, only because he wants to be on state. Now, this uniting fasting, now Brittany agreed to be European now and join the uniting thingy. And finally, Kazakhstan is the last one to be uniting with others. And after that, it is fully getting the Europa done. Now, Europa is big and powerful, and what Europa and Siberia did, they planned about uniting powers and make them to be strong and no longer use any straight lines ever again, because Siberia is the name. Exactly, Siberia was more powerful than Europa already, and the Siberia managed to use what he will be using with capital. He planned to use Moscow and even fix some borders on here to war, and even did fix that Chinese issue borders, because Siberia doesn't like the straight lines. Now Europa doesn't exist anymore, but Siberia, what he did, fix some borders still up. Now Europa is the world biggest power. Not Europa, Siberia is the world biggest power, and Siberia even purchased some lands of Iran's to fix himself up. Even further, he planned change this border up to be not so straight. Now, ended with top, the Siberia and Europa didn't manage to fully stay about that as one. The Siberia had issue with Europa, so both agreed to be not anymore as one. Now Siberia they get about those lands, and Europa can keep others. Now Europa didn't like that too, because the Siberia planet get rid all the straight lines of himself. So he did that, and for further we see Moldova do some big issues. He puppet himself up too, as um, the biggest thing in the Europa pupping states. He managed to get himself so many new lands. That's Moldova. Giant. And what happened next? The Denmark take himself as independent, and oh boy, this is not neutral Denmark. That's another big state. Now this thing fast call it Finns Swedish, and that take it himself as independent too, because he's too away to Europeans, and the Europeans doesn't have a way to do him with. Croatia, you did manage to get your independent too. Now Italy, you too, but you're small. Switzerland, you managed to get him yourself as independent too. Catalonia, you get yourself independent too. Now, but Ireland did, and Scotland independent. This is Ireland's, and that's Scotland's. Even further, Scotland got in those lands too, and fully, oh boy, Europa fully collapsed. North and South Spain is here. Now, further, Iceland and Greenland has been united as one, and that's it for today. Europa fully lost so many lands, and for further, the Siberia did one thing, call it himself as empire. So let's give Siberia own flag too. Now, for ending, this is now fully an end part. Siberia as empire, and they really didn't like use only green and white, so they gave themselves one star too. But they didn't like that still, so they planned to do still changes. They changed themselves up more as flag, but they still didn't like that. So they planet put there some yellow stars. Now, finally, they realized that's nice and keep that. Thank you for watching, guys, and see ya in next one. Bye.